in reference to part 2 of Magick of the Ancient Gods, Chthonic Paganism, and the Left-Hand Path, I received a request simply asking to discuss Mars and Ares, so I felt inclined to do so for the purpose of drawing the Luciferian current to kind of a full circle in terms of Roman mythology. Ares, or Mars, is considered a bloodthirsty and cruel god of war. In Greek mythology, Ares actually was a bit unpopular in that he was so violent, however a useful enemy against the early Titans and a useful ally to Zeus in his usurping of the throne of the gods. One interesting thing about Ares is that he rode a chariot into the battlefield and thrived on being covered in blood as a symbol, and the blood obviously represented life and the symbol of victory towards that god. He infused warriors with a strict battle sense and a keen kind of ascension to primal instinct and achieving victory at all costs. Specifically, when you go to Hebraic mythology, they considered a place called Edom the same as Rome, and the archangel of Edom is Samael, or Samael, the angel of poison, the one half of the adversary in the Luciferian tradition. Samael is incidentally a symbol or a glyph of Ares or Mars in his warlike or more brutal aspect. One thing that Ares and Mars, who was very well respected in Roman mythology as opposed to Greek, he was the god that loved the slaughter of men. And he had two specific companions, Demios or fear, and Phobios or flight, and which he inspired on the battlefield. The Scythians, an ancient race of kind of pseudo-barbarians in a certain way, who were masterful hunters and excellent on horse and hunting with bow and arrow, worshipped Ares in the form of a sword. Much of their mythology was inspired by the Greek mythology and the areas of the Carpathians and Greece that moved up in their trade routes. One of the interesting invocations in Magick of the Ancient Gods dealt with Ares, and I'd like to recite a bit of it to kind of focus and inspire certain aspects of that. And this is from the invocation to Ares, the god, the war god. And I invoke thee, blood-covered one, Ares, who exceeds in strength, chariot rider, harnessed in bronze, shield bearer, gold helmet, Ares, who is mighty with the spear. Hail, thou spirit of strife and war. Ares, Mars, whirl your fiery spear and unite the planets. From sevenfold will they gather unto man, ripping into the firmament of heaven. Assist me, empower me, O Lord of the crushing mace. Hail, thou prince of spilling blood. So these are the type of invocations in the book, and a Luciferian or a pagan approaching the left-hand path ideology would actually call forth Ares in accomplishing something that's very difficult in your life. It could be that you have a challenge in your job and somebody who's giving you a lot of problems, and this invocation, you would focus on destroying that person, every ounce of your being. And remember what I spoke about in certain aspects of the circle being the center of your universe, and you are that universe, you are the center of that. So utilizing those aspects of sorcery, you're going to compound and sort of infuriate the will and the subconscious mind to activating a victory stance in which you can achieve what you wish, all without physical violence. And that's where the detraction and the usefulness of the Luciferian philosophy, ideology, and practice comes into play. You don't have to resort to physical violence in invoking the god of war. You invoke it to overcome certain aspects of what you're trying to achieve. Then second, we have Zeus Lykaios. And I mentioned in the first part Zeus and many of his different forms, one including a primal serpent, which people sacrifice to. There was actually Zeus Lykaios, and he was actually a god of the wolves who dwelled in the mountains. And wolves, like Apollo, had the form of a wolf also as a destroyer. These were ravening predators who represented the primal instinct of humanity. And Zeus Lykaios was the destructive and violent aspects of nature, and his incarnation was a wolf. And you see in lycanthropy or therionic magic, as I mentioned in Bible of the Adversary, this is getting in touch with the primal aspect, the predator within, and really putting yourself in tune with the instinct of which you are, and that primal foundation. Zeus Lykaios, as in Magic of the Ancient Gods, really encircles the entire encompassing foundations of what Zeus actually is in terms of humanity and so forth. And you'll find that there are many aspects of early Zeus manifestations in which he is not actually physically manifest in any form. It was only later when his different forms, from serpent, wolf, and all these other things, became this bearded figure who kind of laid the map for what people thought the Judeo-Christian God actually looked like in non-Hebraic text. So that's a very interesting point as well. So in working with these specific gods, relate their natures to what is applying in your life and make yourself the center of that. In doing that, you're going to find some amazing results to anything you do in life.